Lena's hand was already on my back when I felt the nudge. The air in the grand hall was warm and close, thick with the scent of perfume and champagne, and every glance that found me didn't look away. I thought I'd have a choice, but when the circle of men tightened, I stayed. Before we dive in, if you've been here before, tap like and subscribe. You already know it helps more than you think. And if this is your first time, welcome. I'm glad you're here for this one. Alright, let's get into it. Lena's hand was already at my lower back when I felt the nudge. Not hard, just enough to tip me into the narrow space between two broad shoulders where the air ran warmer and the string quartet seemed to fade around us. Fabric brushed my arms as I steadied myself, fine wool on one side, crisp linen on the other, and heat rolled off. Both of them like I'd stepped too close to a fireplace. Their sleeves grazed mine. Neither of them shifted away. Stay. Lena breathed at my ear, her words warm enough to stir me still. I didn't step back. I let her hand guide me a fraction closer. Sandalwood and something darker. A hint of cigar. Smoke threaded the air. Crystal tapped crystal somewhere behind me. A sleeve adjusted. Polished shoes scraped faintly on the marble floor. The small sounds stacked until they felt louder than the music. I was dressed for a different night. A fitted sapphire blue dress with long sleeves, a slim silver choker that caught the light when I swallowed, tiny diamonds that warmed against my skin, and a pin holding my hair in a smooth twist. None of it kept me cool now. A third shoulder slid into my periphery, then a fourth. When I lifted my chin, I found the fifth across from me, calm, steady, watching like he'd been there the whole time. 5 pairs of eyes, and not one of them looked away. Lena's fingers pressed lightly, then lifted from my back as if leaving me to the choice. She didn't step in to block me. She didn't joke or rescue. She just circled to my side with that, knowing tilt to her smile. The one that said this was her idea long before it was mine. Warmth gathered through my chest. My breath shortened. The space shrank again when the man on my right shifted closer by a quiet inch, his tuxedo jacket brushing my sleeve. The one on my left matched him like it had been practiced. I let the closeness happen. I centered my feet. The nearness felt deliberate now. A ring drawn tighter by small movements, by breaths that fell into rhythm without anyone saying a word. "They're not leaving," she murmured, voice soft enough for only me, "and neither are you." I met each gaze in turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and when my eyes reached the fifth, the grand hall seemed to fall away like a curtain tugged aside. The path from here was obvious. My pulse answered before I did. Behind me, Lena's knuckles skimmed the base of my neck. A light touch that steadied more than it warned. The men held their ground. The circle held its shape. I stayed exactly where she'd put me. The music's tempo dipped. Conversation blurred to a low hum. Another small step from my right. A mirrored step from my left. Across from me, the fifth lifted his chin a degree. Invitation without a word. I exhaled slowly and didn't move aside. When the next piece began and a door clicked somewhere down, the corridor, none of them shifted back, and I stayed. I let the breath go and stayed put. That's when the first hand drifted past me, not grabbing, just the faint brush of fingers grazing the back of my arm. As someone shifted closer, the fabric of his jacket caught against my sleeve, and the warmth of his body filled the narrow space he left between us. On my other side, a shoulder pressed more firmly to mine, steady, as though he'd been waiting for me to stop pretending I had room to step away. The quiet pressure made my breath catch. Lena leaned in again, her hair brushing my cheek as she whispered, "You're doing better than I thought." Her tone was teasing, but her eyes glittered with something sharper. She didn't guide me this time. She let them do it. Another leaned forward close enough that I felt the shift of his breath near my shoulder. his aftershave mixed with the sandalwood already clinging to me, dizzying in the crowded air. My necklace warmed under the weight of his gaze. His hand paused at my wrist, fingers settling just above the pulse. My heartbeat quickened against the touch, and I knew he noticed. He stayed there longer, deliberate now, as if marking the rhythm. The fifth man, the one across from me, tilted his head, eyes still locked. He didn't move closer, not yet. His stillness was worse than motion, anchoring the circle while the others pressed in, making me feel how completely I was surrounded. I let out a low breath, too loud in my own ears. My chest lifted with it, the silver choker biting warmer against my throat. Heat spread through me, skin prickling, heartbeat racing, breath shallower than before. "They like that you're staying," Lena whispered, brushing a knuckle lightly against my side as though sealing me into place. Her touch lingered only a second before retreating, giving me fully to them. The grip at my wrist shifted higher. Not quick, not bold, just steady enough that every inch felt like a test. Another leaned in, his sleeve grazing my shoulder as his silence hovered just beside my ear, close enough to feel like a whisper without words. The circle tightened again, an invisible drawstring pulled closer until there was no direction left. That wasn't theirs. I steadied my feet, breath trembling, body warm enough that every shift felt like being pulled further to the center. Across from me, the fifth finally moved. A single step forward, measured, calm, decisive, and the space that had kept him apart vanished. The circle sealed itself with me inside. I held my ground. His hand reached out, slow and certain, closing. The last space between us. The back of his fingers brushed the edge of my shoulder, a faint touch that made my pulse leap. Then his palm rested lightly there, steadying me in place while the circle tightened around me. The grip at my wrist firmed, guiding me closer. My breath shuddered out, chest rising hard against the sapphire fabric. My necklace shifted warm against my throat as I leaned instinctively into the weight pressing nearer on both sides. Another leaned into my ear, not whispering words this time, just a quiet exhale that made my skin prickle. His sleeve grazed my arm, his warmth covering me from shoulder to side. And I didn't resist it. I only inhaled deeper, dizzy on cologne and closeness, and the way every inch of space was being taken. Lena caught my eyes from just beyond the circle. She didn't move to break it. She only watched with a smile that burned like approval. Her hand brushed my back one last time, a light push, and then she let me go fully. The circle collapsed tighter. A hand at my side steadied me, sure, unspoken, guiding me where I already stood. Another shoulder leaned into mine, unmoving until our bodies aligned. I gasped, not in protest, but because the pressure finally matched what I'd been holding in. Breath tingled in my throat, my heartbeat raced wild. Every nerve sparked at once. Fingers at my wrists, weight at my shoulder, warmth pressed behind me. The steady palm still anchoring me in front. The air felt thin, like I'd stepped past hesitation, into something heavier, inevitable. My knees wavered as another hand steadied me at my back, bracing me fully in the center. I didn't resist. I tilted forward into it. There was no room left between us now. No space to step back, no thought of breaking the circle. I was surrounded, held by it, breathless and trembling. And all five of them knew it. The last thing I saw before everything else closed in was Lena's smile, wide, satisfied, daring me not to follow through. And then the first grip tightened, pulling me forward into what came next. His hand closed over mine and pressed it to his chest, the steady thud of his heartbeat grounding me in place. The weight of it anchored me even as the circle drew tighter, shoulders grazing, heat closing, and until I could feel every shift of fabric and breath around me. A palm steadied at my back, urging me forward, while another hand slipped along my arm and wove its fingers through mine, holding me firm. My back met the velvet edge of a chaise lounge as the pressure built. Warm breath traced close to my cheek, steady and insistent, while fingertips brushed the outline of my sleeve, climbing to my shoulder before easing down my arm again. Goosebumps prickled everywhere they went, my necklace burning hotter against my skin as I tilted into the nearness, pressing from all sides. The man in front drew me face to face, his lapel brushing my forearm through the thin fabric of my dress, while the others aligned to steady me in place. A shoulder leaned into mine, a palm guided my waist, another pressed along the side of my ribs, careful, deliberate, unyielding. My own grip answered, clenching tighter, body leaning into the frame that held me fast. I barely registered the rotation until it was already happening. One set of shoulders giving way, another taking their place, a new scent of mint and leather brushing through the haze already thick around me. Every shift was mirrored by another, sealing me further into the circle until the closeness felt like it belonged to all of them at once. Lena's eyes caught mine through the ring, a glint of approval flashing before she looked away, leaving me fully to their hold. A hand lifted me half a step higher, guiding me onto the chaise's edge, balancing me there with arms braced tight around my waist. My heels slipped slightly, knees brushing, and the sudden height shift pulled a gasp for me, breath quick and shallow, head tipping back as another palm pressed firm at my spine to steady me, heat spread everywhere at once. Hands at my arms, shoulders, waist, fingers locked with mine. The weight of them pressed inward, bodies closing until there was no air left that wasn't theirs. My pulse hammered against my choker, my chest rising unevenly, breath catching in sharp bursts. Shiver rippled through me, legs trembling, my grip tightening as though I could anchor myself against all of them at once. The circle compressed in its final shape. A firm brace at my waist, shoulders steadied by surrounding forearms, one hand gripping mine so hard my knuckles ache, and all of them breathing with me in the same unbroken rhythm. I tilted my head back against the support, eyes shut, body trembling as everything gathered in one suspended rush. It built slowly, then all at once, every sound sharpened, every breath hitched. Every nerve caught in a single rush that felt too heavy to hold and too bright to look away from. The circle steadied me through it, held me upright, gave me no room to falter, and when the moment crested, I let it overtake me. Breath unraveling, hands shaking, vision sparking with light as the circle locked around me, carrying me steady through the height of it, to be honest. Do you wish you had been at the center of that circle too? If you were, what would you have done first? Tell me in the comments.